lights come on. This is a 45-minute race with that manager pit window in the middle. A great start from pole position, a fantastic start from Callum McDougall at the wheel of the Caterham, and as expected, the rear-wheel drive cars get off the line well, and now Darren Goes is starting to propel the Seat Leon alongside Callum McDougall on the run up towards Ritchie's corner. Is he able to squeeze his way through? No, not quite. So it is the fast-starting Porsche of Simon Clark that got off the line superbly well when the lights went out. He has opened up an advantage already between himself and the car that sits there in second position, which is still the Caterham of Callum McDougall, with Darren Goes, the pole sitter, down to third. Ryan Steele is there in fourth place, and I think it's Jamie McHugh that is there in fifth position as they charge their way up towards the area of Palmer for the first time. It is indeed Jamie McHugh that's up into fifth place, and up into sixth place is Tony Jones from eighth on the grid. So the car that's gone backwards is the Volkswagen Golf at this stage, and that will be the car in the hands of Johnny Sharp for the first part of this race. So through Agostini they'll go for the first time. Simon Clark leading the race. Darren Goes now draws himself through and in front of the Caterham of Callum McDougall. So the Seat Leon from pole position, dropping down to third place, is back into second already as it threads its way through Hamilton in towards the right-hander at Oggies. And Simon Clark now will be watching his mirrors. He'll see that Darren Goes is through into second place and be hoping that he is able to hang on to that place. We did hear from Simon after qualifying when he spoke to Chris Dawes this morning, saying that he knows that Seat Leon is indecently quick in a straight line, and he was hoping to utilise the rear-wheel drive and the engine layout of the Porsche to get it off the line well and grab the lead of the race. Well, that's exactly what he's done at the moment, but Darren Goes has closed the gap as they've gone through Brundle and Nelson, and is looking as though he's no more than about 3 or 4 car lengths behind as they head up towards the bomb hole for the first time. So into side they'll come. Simon Clark leading the race. Darren Goes in second place. Callum McDougall there in third place. Then a bit of a gap back as Callum McDougall raises the dust through the right-hander at Coram. Ryan Steele a little bit of drift in fourth place. Then a big old gap back to fifth position at the moment. The Porsche of Jamie McHugh sticking his elbows out to try and keep the Toyota of Tony Jones behind. And the Volkswagen Golf of Johnny Sharps is in the mix as well. So over the start-finish line come the lead trio of cars. Darren Goes starting to attack Simon Clark in a straight line, has a quick look up the inside, heading in towards Ritchie's corner, and takes the lead of the race away from the Porsche. So place gained by Darren Goes, just squeezes his way through and up the inside, and confirms that he has hung on to that lead as well as he has exited Ritchie's corner. By the look of things, right, was there a little bit of contact further back there, because the Caterham of Callum McDougall was so late on the brakes going up to Wilson, the lighter car, and I think he's been able to pick the pocket of Simon Clark, who was leading over the start-finish line and is now, by the look of things, in second place. Right, so he had got up the inside, but I think braked a little bit too late going into the corner, and as a result lost momentum coming out, so Simon Clark was able to retake the place back. So Seat leads, Porsche second, Caterham third, Citroen Saxo of Ryan Steele, who is there in fourth place. He was a little bit of drift, wasn't he, at the beginning of this lap from the cars ahead. He was 1.8 seconds off the third place car, but he's now very much caught up with it with all of the squabbling that's going on. So the lead 4 through Hamilton and up towards Oggies, then the gap back before we see 5th, 6th, 7th, and you can even argue 8th place all very much together. And as for cars from the tail end of the field that I said to watch out for, well, the number 66 BMW of Chris Mills, that's the Auto Revive London car that he shares with David Gardner. That car started in 21st place and is up into 18th position. The greater gains though have been for car number 106, Gary Burstow, who started 23rd on the grid and is now up to 12th position. So as expected, the 328i Beamer, the black car of Gary Burstow, who is the team, he is the only member of the team. Come the pit window, Chris Dawes might have to do what I did at Rockingham and help him out. Time is pit stop for him. He is making great progress. Darren Goes still continuing to lead, so he sweeps his way through Coram and on towards the brakes at Murray's for the second time in this race. Simon Clark in the Porsche still there in second place, but Callum McDougall is very much nipping at his heels as they exit the corner. And as they then head over the start-finish line, it is another lap completed for Darren Goes. He leads by 2 3/4 seconds from Simon Clark. Number 14, Callum McDougall, further 0.6 of a second off him. Third place, fourth place is Ryan Steele. Fifth and sixth getting together now. Tony Jones propels the Toyota MR2 alongside Jamie McHugh's Porsche, but can't quite squeeze his way through when they get towards Ritchie's corner. So it's still McHugh from the Tony Jones driven Toyota MR2. Then in 10th place into the Volkswagen Golf. That's car number 99 of Johnny Sharp, with then the top 8 being completed by car number 60, 6-0, and that is the car of Andrew Ball, who's there in 8th place. George Wright, number 48, the Team Air Supply Porsche, is there in 9th place, and Gary Burstow now is up to 10th, so another couple of places gained by Gary Burstow, and he is half a second behind the number 48 Porsche of George Wright, and they would actually then be fighting for the lead of Class B as well. So the battle for the lead of Class B is beginning to form as Gary Burstow is threading his way continually up through the order, and by the look of things, there is Gary Burstow. He has, I think, managed to already gain another couple of places, so he's through and ahead of George Wright, and he's gone through and ahead of Steve Gales as well, so he really has made good progress up to 9th position now, and leading his class from what was pretty much the tail end of the field after the damp qualifying session. So 39 minutes of the race to go. The pit window only opens 15 minutes into this race, and it remains open for 15 minutes, so it's absolutely the middle part of the race that the pit window is open for. As our race leader is about to thread his way back up towards the bomb hole, still continuing to increase his advantage all of the time is Darren Goes. His first flying lap was a 2-minute 12.324, 2-minute 12.324. He qualified with a 2-minute 10.111 before the rain came down. At the moment, he's showing pretty much a clean pair of heels to everybody. So, through and over the start-finish line goes number 22. Darren Goes, the Mangoes Racing Team, and as he then chalks another lap into the book, he's now down into the 2-minute 10-second bracket, so a 2-minute 10.843 from Darren Goes. He leads by 3.1 seconds from Simon Clark and Callum McDougall, a further 1.2 seconds adrift there in the wheel of the Frugal Racing Caterham in 3rd place. Great fight still going on for 5th and 6th place. Tony Jones with the Toyota MR2 has now got himself ahead of Jamie McHugh, but he's not pulled away, so 5th, 6th, and you could argue 7th place. Johnny Sharp's Volkswagen Golf pretty much together, added to the fact that Andrew Ball at the wheel of his Boxster is looking to try and make it a quartet, all busy fighting away for 6th through to 8th position. And someone all scheduled getting a black flag, black and white warning flag this time through is car number 25, Jamie McHugh, so the 6th place car being forewarned very early on in the race with regards to track limits, so needing to be careful. Elsewhere down through the order, as for the class battle that's going on in what is Class C, that's one worth watching at the moment, because the red Clio with its yellow flashes, number 69 of David Slater, has got Russell Danzy's blue Clio right behind it. Right behind that is Jonathan Hose at the wheel of the Ford Fiesta as well, so 3 cars all busy squabbling away for what will be the lead of Class C at this stage, and keep an eye towards that one. They should be just about to work their way through Agostini at the moment. In fact, just coming out of Agostini, there they go. Yeah, the red Renault Clio from the blue one, from the white and light blue and yellow Ford Fiesta, 1st, 2nd and 3rd in their respective classes, all pretty much locked together in the early stages of this one. Race leaders in the meantime are turning their way up towards the bomb hole. Darren Goes still looking to try and build on the advantage that he has managed to eke out over the course of the first 3 laps, which was 3 seconds when they started this particular tour of the Snetterton 300 circuit. He's about to come through and conclude a further lap, still with Porsche and Caterham battle going on for 2nd and 3rd place. Simon Clark cannot shake away the aspirations of Callum McDougall.
Catching up with Ben Simonds, the co-driver of that number 14, the Caterham, and he was saying that Callum McDougall's out there racing with a really bad back. He's fighting through it, wasn't sure whether he would actually even be able to race, but he is. They'll probably sort of get him going for about 20 minutes and then pit, and then he's there fighting for the lead in the class. What a fantastic performance.
He's going really well, isn't he? Yeah, because Simon Clark and Callum McDougall are actually in the same class. They both run in Class A, which is for those cars with between 176 and 200 brake horsepower per tonne. So, yeah, great performance for Callum McDougall. If he's struggling with his back, most pleasant thing to be thrown around in a caterer when you're struggling with back pain and issues, but for the moment he's doing a very, very good job of hanging on to the coattails of the Porsche. Loses out in a straight line, but through the twiddly bits, yeah, he's more than a match for Simon Clark's Porsche. Fourth place is Ryan Steele, who's becoming ever more distant now in fourth place. He's 5 seconds behind the pair ahead, but has 11.5 seconds between himself and the Toyota MR2 in the hands of Tony Jones.
Right, an update to our notes, because I know the 99 Volkswagen Golf we had down as Tony Hobson starting that one. Well, I just spoke to him on the pit wall.
There's Johnny Sharp, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so Johnny Sharp's out there in that one starting.
Yeah, so Johnny Sharp at the wheel of that one. Tony will take over later on. And that car is at the moment embroiled in a very good little fight, actually. Johnny Sharp is looking to try and attack the Porsche of Jamie McHugh whilst having to defend from the number 60 Porsche Boxster of Andrew Ball. So that's a good little fight that's going on 6th, 7th and 8th position, and if they keep holding each other up, more cars behind them are travelling quicker at the moment. So Steve Gales and also the number 66 BMW of Chris Mills may well close up. So over the start finish line going the lead 3, Ryan Steele very much on his own in 4th place. Tony Sharp at the wheel, Tony Jones rather at the wheel of the Toyota MR2, now starting to pull away from what is a quintet of cars now that are fighting over 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th position, because it does look as though the BMWs have now joined in, and Steve Gales draws himself alongside Andrew Ball's Porsche Boxster. The 2 Series looking to try and get himself ahead, but Andrew Ball's got the inside line up towards Ritchie's. Who's the braver on the brakes? It's Steve Gales. The 2 Series sweeps its way through and gains another place, Chris.
Another couple that we can update. We didn't know the starting drivers. One of them, McDougal, seems to be going incredibly well. The number 11 Toyota MR2 Roadster. That's Tony Jones that's out there at the moment.
Yeah.
And in number 48, the black and yellow Porsche 944 is George Wright that's out there.
Yeah. So I think we've got all the start drivers. I think we've got every single one.
Oh, I didn't. Who have you got is starting number 88 then?
Number 88 is John Cooper.
And then Alistair will take over?
Yeah.
Fine, thank you.
What's going on for the lead battles of the classes, because the pit window is about 2 minutes now from opening. Well, leading the race overall, leading Class S is Darren Goes. Second in the race, coming over the start-finish line at least. Let's just have a quick look as I look down towards the bottom section of the Bentley Straight. Second in the race was Callum McDougall coming over the start-finish line. It did look as though he picked the pocket of Simon Clark's Porsche. I'm just going to hang on until they get to the bottom of the Bentley Straight and see whether Caterham is still ahead of Porsche. Indeed it is. So Callum McDougall leads Class A at this stage of the race. Down in 11th position, car number 106, Gary Burstow leads Class B at the wheel of his BMW. And it is Russell Dancy, car number 20 now, the Renault Clio, that had problems in qualifying, that leads Class C. So they are the respective class leaders. Leading Class D is on another television screen which has turned itself off at the moment, but I think it will probably be number 88 car of John Kellett that will lead that class. As we await the arrival of our race leader back over the start-finish line yet again, Darren Goes leading by 3.5 seconds at the beginning of the lap. This time through, the gap between himself and Caterham, Callum McDougall, is 4.3 seconds, so the gap extending to the tune of another 0.9 of a second on that lap. And now that the other TV screen has booted its way into life, yeah, number 88 John Cooper does indeed lead Class D at the moment for the lesser powered cars. As into the pit lane, with a minute to go before the pit window opens, comes Ryan Steele, and this potentially is an important one for the championship, because Ryan, like 4th in the championship standings, must have a problem. So
yeah, engine is off, driver is getting out. This is terrible, and a rather forlorn looking figure, to say the least. Bonnet is up and they're looking in, so I'll need to hang fire, because obviously anybody that is here is now trying to work on the car, so I'll get back to you on this. Yeah, well, Ryan Steele was suffering with misfire problems at Rocky when the car was down on 3 cylinders. Also, Ray Honeybone, I noticed, in the middle of the Apple Car Centre Ford Fiesta is in, and there's still 30 minutes and 39 seconds to go on the clock even now, so... Well, of course, they had an oil leak, didn't they, at the last one, and they were worried they had an issue in qualifying, but found that it, or at least assumed they did, that it was just burning off oil that sort of like deposited itself in that last race. But they've suddenly run up trying to have a look at it. Someone's getting in the passenger seat, so I'm assuming he's not going out just yet.
So 2 cars in the pit lane. Ryan Steele out of the car, bonnet up, mechanics busy working away. Ray Honeybone further down the pit lane, where slowly making its way, and now, only now, does the pit window open, so the ball is held out over the start-finish line, so all of the drivers now aware that the pit window is open, which means at the end of the lap they're about to start, they can dive their way into the pit. So for what is Darren Goes, he's just turning his way through the left-hander at Murray's now and starting to head up towards the start-finish line. And the news, Crystals, with regards to Ray Honeybone is
fuel fuse. There you go. They're just changing a fuse, so it's having an issue with the fuel in some way.
Right, so it's the fuse to the fuel pump then that's probably gone. That's stopped the fueling of the car, and it's put it into almost a limp mode, one would imagine. So Darren Goes over the start-finish line with a 4.2 second advantage between himself and the caterer number 14 of Callum McDougall. Then there's 2.4 seconds back now to Simon Clark, who started well at the wheel of the Porsche. He knew he'd get the car off the grid well with the rear-engine car, rear-wheel drive, as Ray Honeybone's Apple Car Centre Ford Fiesta heads back out of the pit lane, but damage done. He's dropped to the tail end of the field at the moment, but at least he's back out, whereas for poor old Ryan Steele, it's going nowhere currently. So third is Simon Clark. Fourth at the moment is number 11, Tony Jones, at the wheel of the Toyota MR2. Up to fifth, I did say watch out for this car, from 21st on the grid, it's the number 66 BMW of Chris Mills, the Auto Revive London car, is up to fifth position. Up to sixth now is number 99, Johnny Sharp. Seventh is 25, Jamie McHugh. Up to eighth has come car number 106, Gary Burstow, from 23rd on the grid. Ninth is number 84, that's the second of the two caterers, that's Dale Cooper's car. And just to give you the top 10, it's the BMW 2 Series, the white and sort of works colours to it, Steve Gow's number 35, that completes the top 10. That's the order that they're in before the pit window, and the first pit stopper within the window now heads for the pit lane, car number 135. Jonathan Howe's about to hand the car over to the car's owner, to that being Kevin Sterling.
153, not 135, but they're the first proper stopper, aren't they? The bad news is Ryan Steele's car is exactly as you said they'd had before. It is a misfire. They're running back to see whether they can grab a part to do something, but as they know, even if they can't get him out, it's as good as race over, isn't it? So it'll end up being a glorified testing session for them. And yes, everybody was a bit frustrated there. So Jonathan Howe's jumping into the Ford Fiesta, and
was it Jonathan jumping out or Kevin jumping in?
I had it down as Kevin Sterling starting, but I might be wrong, so I'll find out in a minute. He's been strapped in by his co-driver, so I'll have to wait till that finishes.
You're right.
Ryan Steele is actually going out, albeit with the misfire.
Right, okay. The highlighted sheet from MSVT has got Jonathan Howe's down as the start driver. As Darren Goes, race leader is in. So Darren Goes heading into the pit lane. Now they've timed this pit in to pit out, so they should know what they're doing. Also the third place car, which is Simon Clark, number 23, heads to the pit lane, so the front runners are in, Chris.
Yeah, and of course there's no driver changes for either of these two, so they're just in, they've got the stopwatches on, they're just checking tyre pressures. Nothing looks dramatic there for them. Although saying that, the Porsche there of Simon Clark is just pointed to the front of the car to get them to have a look at something. So I'm kind of looking left and right at the moment so that I can check to see what is happening with the cars that are behind me, as in comes another couple of cars as well. Ray Honeybone, unfortunately, looks like he's bringing his car back in again.
Ray Honeybone is in, yeah, and Paul Byrne, isn't it, the other one, I think, car number 6?
Yes, it is. So I've made my way up to the front runners. Darren Goes, they look comfortable, they're just checking the bodywork, the tyres, the pressures, everything looks very, very relaxed here, but they're just tightening up the wheels on the Porsche here of Simon Clark. Just peering through the window, making sure everything's okay. He's always got a smile on his face, hasn't he, when he's racing, so he's still enjoying it, and he's trying to get their attention again. Of course, it's quite a reasonable length of time that they get, isn't it, in these pit stops?
Yeah, I think it's done for safety, I think, more than anything. Give it a reasonable amount of time, and in that way, when cars are being changed, the drivers are being changed in some cars, they're not having to rush and do it as quickly as they possibly can. They can take a bit more time, ensure that seatbelts are done up properly and that the correct process is followed, and they're not tripping over each other in the pit lane, and aware of every other thing that's going on with other cars coming in and out. So it's a sensible thing to give them a reasonable amount of time to conduct these pit stops.
It is. So Darren, there goes siren goes screeching away in the background, which means we must be getting close to Simon Clark, and off he goes. And we'll just double check they're happy with everything they did there. I'm going to ask, because we haven't got a co-driver to speak to, I'm going to speak to somebody here. It looked like there was a degree of franticness there. Was there a couple of things that had to be changed?
No, just checking. No, changed, just checking.
That's fine, okay, so just checking, not changing. There you go.
So Simon Clark back out there. We've seen Simon win his class once so far this year. That was at Donington Park, where he finished second overall. He also finished second overall last time out at Rockingham. Back down the pit lane goes the number 6 Ford Fiesta of Paul Byrne, so he heads back out into the race. Ray Honeybone now, having called into the pits briefly before the pit window opened, has now conducted his mandatory pit stop. So he's shown us being in the pits twice, but he has now conducted his mandatory element of the pit stop. So at the moment, leading the race is Callum McDougall at the wheel of the Caterer, and Tony Jones in the Toyota is in second position. Vacating third on the road, because it's now in the pit lane, is the very well driven number 66 BMW of Chris Mills. That's a driver that would be worth catching up with, because he's done a lot of overtaking in the first 16 minutes of the race, as Chris Mills started 21st position, was running third on the road prior to the pit stops, and has driven very, very well indeed. So up towards the middle section of the lap goes Callum McDougall at the wheel of the Caterham. So Callum secured victory last time out at Rockingham, and it is at the moment leading to the tune of 27 seconds from the Toyota of Tony Jones in second place. A further 8 seconds adrift is Johnny Sharp's Volkswagen Golf number 99, who's there in third. More cars in the pit lane, and this includes cars that were fighting away at the sharp end of Class C, Chris Dawes. It looks as though Russell Danzy is in, and also David Slater's Renault Clio in this as well.
Yeah, it's suddenly become rather busy here as I'm wandering up and down the pit lane, trying to check out with people. Be interested to see, of course, how the number 69 car of David Slater does, because he cut short his qualifying session with him being on the wet. He was on the dry settings, wasn't he? And he went wet. The number 59 car just in front of me. Where did they start? 14th place. So I've got that down that Neil House is handing over to Andy Tate. I assume that's correct. I've made a mistake on a couple of these by the looks of it. And it looks as though the Caterham of Callum McDougall's now coming in, number 14. So his bad back didn't stop him fighting hard, and I will actually make my way up that direction to try and grab a word with him, because he fought valiantly if he's in that much pain.
He did, yeah, it was a great stint from him. So yeah, that car is in. We've also now, by the look of things, yeah, you're absolutely right, we've got Neil House giving way to Andy Tate. Steve Gales is in at the wheel of the number 35 2 Series. David Slater is in, number 69. We've also got George and Jack Wright with their Team Air Supply Porsche are in the pit lane as well at the moment. George and Jack, who both raced in the mini festival down at Brands Hatch in the JCW class for the first time. So it is at the moment Tony Jones at the wheel of the Toyota MR2 that leads the race, and up to second will now be at this stage car number 25 Jamie McHugh, because number 99 has also gone into the pit lane this time, which is Johnny Sharp at the wheel of the Volkswagen Golf. So that was right up there. Jamie McHugh actually comes into the pit lane at the wheel of car number 25. So the vast majority all heading for the pits at the moment. So it is car number 11 that leads, and it will be Gary Burstow's BMW, car number 106, that's now been to second position. It hasn't pitted, but from 23rd on the grid, he made good progress anyway with Gary Burstow.
And we got a drive-through penalty for car number 6, Paul Byrne, the green Ford Fiesta, and I'm going to assume that's because he wasn't in the pits for long enough.
Well, usually if you're not in the pits for long enough, you get a stop-go for the amount of time that you were short. So it might be speeding potentially in the pit lane.
Yeah. The number 20 car, that was the one that was struck with issues, wasn't it, in qualifying, of Russell Danzy coming in to hand over to Jack Wood. As out goes 172 Alf Hyde. And Alistair Kellett now at the wheel of the number 88 Ford Fiesta. I'm going to dive over, and Callum, what a fantastic stint that was. You were involved in some serious fighting. We were informed that you've got a bad back, but you weren't just out there making up the numbers. You were really pressurising for the class lead.
Yeah, we were trying very hard. The car's performing very, very well. Yeah, it was good. Adrenaline build.
I mean, what a start. I mean, we know that the guys have been quick off the start, but you went for a gap that no other car would have fitted through, and ahead of Darren Goes, not quite able to get up with Mr. Clark in his Porsche until he'd been passed by Darren Goes, and then I think he made a bit of a lunge up at Wilson.
Yeah, no, that didn't really go according to plan. That was never supposed to happen. I was just trying to apply some pressure, and I locked the fronts up, and I was a bit of a passenger from then onwards. So fortunately, I owe Simon quite a lot there. He managed to take avoiding action and missed me, and we all carried on in the same order. But it was a hell-raising moment for sure.
The class win could be on.
It could potentially, but yeah, we don't know yet. We'll see.
That's a very reserved one. Well done, great stint. Well done, Callum. So there we go. He's. I think you can probably tell from the tone of his voice. I think he enjoyed that actually, Mark.
No, absolutely, he did. Absolutely. So John Lyne, car number 71, vacates the pit lane. Looks as though car number 84 is just leaving the pit lane as well. That's Dale Cooper, the winner of the second of the two Caterhams. The car that had been leading on the road is now in. So this is Tony Jones at the wheel of the Toyota MR2 that has now come into the pits. So it is now car number 106, Gary Burstow, that leads the race. He's completed 11 laps. He has not as yet pitted. He's one of a couple of cars that haven't pitted as yet, because the other car that hasn't pitted is Jason Francis at the wheel of the Ford Puma, but Jason is down in 6th place at the moment. So car number 106, Gary Burstow, leads at this stage. Second is car number 14, which is a Caterham. We've just heard from Callum McDougall. Ben Simonds is second, and third should be Darren Goes coming over the start finish line. There goes Darren now, and I don't know quite how he's lost so much time, because he is now 36 seconds behind the Caterham. And right, the Caterham is receiving, here we go, a 40-second stop-go penalty. That sort of now identifies as to why that Caterham has had such a great stop. A 40-second stop-go penalty for its pit stop being too short. So Callum McDougall getting out of the car quickly, Ben Simonds getting into it and going up the pit lane 40 seconds too quickly, Chris.
That might be why we were getting a reserved answer of yes, we could win the class when I asked that question. I had a feeling that they almost kind of were like, no, wait, but I couldn't tell whether they're saying wait or go, and I think that answers that one now, doesn't it? I'm stood here with where the Toyota MR2 number 11 has just gone out of the pits. Tony Jones has just jumped out, has just taken his helmet and his balaclava off, and we'll grab a word. Tony, that was a fantastic opening stint, made up a lot of places.
I have no idea. All I know is I've been behind the 944 for most of it. It was very quick in a straight line, and we were being very good and very clean, but it was very close.
Yeah, because it looked like you had strengths and weaknesses over each other at different parts of the circuit, so it looked like you were going to make the pass, then it disappeared, and then it was a good fight.
Well, we had a couple of DNFs recently, so we wanted it all in one bit, so maybe a little bit cautious, but my brother will tell me all about it afterwards, I'm sure.
There we go. So that's the MR2 is trying to fight forward, but taking it steady.
Another car heading for the pit lane is Gary Burstow. So Gary Burstow is in, so you might need to go and lend a hand down there for Gary, because he is totally on his own. He last time had no idea even as to how long he'd been in the pits, so we ended up timing it for him at Rockingham. Also back into the pit lane comes Paul Byrne. This is for a drive-through penalty, and also we now have car number who's that? 69 heading back into the pit lane, which is David Slater, who was leading his class earlier on. So the drive-through penalty for Paul Byrne.
Oh, I tell you what, is that I just saw him come past. I don't know who he was signalling to, but he did the old hand wave across his throat. In other words, that's the end of that, and he's headed straight towards the paddock, unfortunately, so I can't even ask him.
That's a shame for David Slater, because he had been going well, so he was leading his respective class, that being Class C, in the early stages of the race. So everybody has now either conducted or is in the process of conducting their mandatory pit stops. The last couple of cars are in the pit lane, one of which is just vacating it now, that being Jason Francis, the wheel of his Ford Puma, that is heading back out onto circuit, which just leaves one car at the very bottom of the pit lane, which is Gary Burstow.
And emotionally, you might quite like this fact, there is somebody already stood by the side of his car.
So that's good. Yeah, I do like
no
that.
stopwatching hand, though.
He's found somebody, has he, to help him out this weekend?
I get the impression he's still timing himself. I think I remember him actually having a stopwatch in his hand when I've seen him do this before. But there is somebody stood by the side there, even if it's just psychological support and getting ready to shut his door. He's now getting ready. The thumbs up from the person that's with him. so he does now have a crew. There was certainly a bottle of water in hand, so I'm sure that was handed to Gary for him to rehydrate a little bit. Thumbs up, off goes Gary Burstow, very controlled pull away in no desperate rush, and he's rejoining the race.
I'm pleased he's found a new friend for this weekend, Gary Burstow, so he makes his way back down pit lane. He's going to rejoin after, by the look of things, Jamie McHugh's Porsche, so that should put him 8th in the race. So let's just run you down through the order at the moment. Leading the race, but it's got a 40-second stop-go penalty to serve, is going to be Ben Simonds. Now that car leads, it's got 40 seconds to serve in the pit lane, but the gap between itself and Darren Goes is 36.5 seconds, so it is going to lose the lead of the race when it comes into the pits, which it is doing now, Chris Dawes, by the look of things. So the pit penalty box is at the very top of the pit lane. This 40 seconds is going to seem like a very long period of time.
Isn't it just? And you say it literally is 40 seconds, therefore, is how much shorter they would have been in their pit stop.
They must have been 40 seconds shorter in their pit stop,
grief.
Yeah.
That's huge there as well, isn't it? But
that's not a miscalculation, is it? That's just an error.
Yes, absolutely. But obviously stood there, and Callum McDougall stood by the side of him, and it's taken an age for me. I've actually managed to walk from one end of the pit lane to the other to actually meet up with him, and for me, that's no quick time anyway. And the official stood there, hand up, stopping, timing this 40 seconds before they're going to release it back off the circuit. Oh, and I think we nearly went too soon then as well, but I think they'll get away with that. I'm going to quickly, Callum, I'm guessing that was why the reserved answer to my question about who could win the class.
Yeah, we had a little bit of confusion in the pit stop with just between us, just a miscommunication. And yeah, while you were asking me, I kind of thought that might crop up, but it is what it is. It's the first mistake we've made in 2 seasons, and we can only get better.
Learn from it, yeah, absolutely. I got to be honest, when I stood there, I couldn't tell whether he was being told to go or wait, and I guess it was the wait was the actual show.
I think it might have been, yeah. Just adrenaline running high in the moment, and it's going to cost us, I guess. But
won't happen again, though, I bet.
It sure won't. I just hope we're not too far down the order now.
Well done. Sorry to hear that. So there we go. That does clear up that. The bad news is as well is that we got the number 10 car, Ryan Steele, back in again with Bobby Top looking at the car.
The good news for Callum McDougall, if he's still listening, is they're 3rd at the moment. So yeah, they're not leading their class, but they are 3rd in the race still. So that will no doubt please him. Darren Goes now at this stage, with everybody having pitted and the windows closed anyway. Car number 22, Darren Goes, leads the race by 3.5 seconds from Simon Clark, but on the last lap, Simon Clark was nearly 2 seconds quicker than Darren Goes, so it's not all done and dusted as yet for the lead of the race. Down to 3rd, following its stop-go penalty, is Ben Simonds at the wheel of car number 14. That's the Caterham that's just served that penalty in the pit lane, as the race leader, Darren Goes, turns his way for the 14th time through Cora and up towards the braking area for Murray's Corner. You can see the Porsche of Simon Clark not that far behind him. After the Caterham, they're in 3rd place. Then there's quite a gap back to the 4th place car, which is the Toyota MR2. It was driven superbly well by Tony Jones in the first part of the race. It's now Jason Jones that's behind the wheel of that car. They are 22 seconds adrift of the car that is in 3rd place, and they are also getting caught by the number 66 Auto Revive London. Now David Gardner driven BMW M3, so keep an eye towards that one. The number 66 car is closing on the 4th place machine in 6th place, car number 99, 6th there in 6th place. That's Tony Hobson now behind the wheel of the Volkswagen Golf. 7th place is car number 25, which is Jamie McHugh's Porsche. 8th place, one of the last of the cars to pit stop, is car number 106, Gary Burstow, at the wheel of his black E36 M3. The new BMW 2 Series of Steve Gales is there in 9th place, number 35, and completing the top 10 is the Team Air Supply Porsche, car number 48, in the hands of Jack Wright now. So that's the order of the top 10. The gaps that look to be closing up are, at the moment, we've got Ben Simonds, who is getting caught by what is Jason Jones at the Toyota MR2, who is being matched for pace by David Gardner in the number 66 BMW. So 3rd, 4th and 5th are the gaps that we need to keep an eye on, but also the leading pair as well, because again Simon Clark was quicker than Darren Goes, the race leader on that lap. 0.3 of a second was eroded from the lead advantage, so it's down to 3.2 seconds with 10.5 minutes to go. It's more than doable for Simon Clark to catch. Can he then though get past? And of course there's the traffic to consider as well, as the gaps will without question, ebb and flow throughout the course of this race. And another fight over the start-finish line is between the two BMWs. The black BMW of Gary Burstow hangs on to 8th position, but Steve Gales in the 2 Series is very much with him as those two cars head for what is the 15th time up towards Ritchie's corner. Our race leader, though, is having to thread his way through the traffic, and it looks as though Simon Clark at the wheel of the Porsche Boxster is, over the course of this lap, falling further away. So Darren Goes, I think, has got the hurry up now. 3.2 seconds was the advantage. It looks as though it's grown ever more on this lap. So over the start-finish line he goes. Less than 10 minutes remain. 15 laps completed, and what was 3.2 seconds between himself and Simon Clark is now, Chris Dawes, up to 6.2 seconds. 3 seconds lost on that lap for Simon Clark.
That sounds like a mistake somewhere, doesn't it? Because I was just chatting to someone from Simon Clark's team, and they were watching and they were closing in on Darren Goes, and what they were saying is that the Seat isn't designed for the tyres that they have to wear for this race, and where he'll have had to push it quite hard to get back into the lead at the start of the race is that it was a very possible that he's destroyed those tyres on it, and so it started creeping in. And I have to tell you, the temperature out here now is rising really quite dramatically, so I was about to build up that the possibility that the tyres on Darren Go's cars could have sort of gone way past their best, and Simon Clark could be closing dramatically, but he just foiled that just before I started saying it, so no idea.
Yeah, it was more of a poor lap from Simon Clark rather than a quick lap from Darren Goes, so if he can just get his head back down once more, then you never know.
No, and it was interesting from his team. I said, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because he's still leading the class, and that's where all the points come from. He said, don't care, it's not like that. The second on the road is the first loser, and they were just going for it anyway. They want the outright victory.
Yeah, the way the points work is that points are awarded to finishers regardless of class in the final result. So class does have an influence, but 30 points for the overall win, 27 for second, 24 for third, and so on. It drops down there. But 1 point is awarded to each competitor you beat in your class, up to a maximum of 5 points. So if you say finish second, but win your class and beat 5 other people in your class, you can ultimately potentially claim more points than even the race winner if he's got fewer people to beat in his class. So it's an interesting way they work the points in this one, and it does mean that consistency is key, but equally as much having a greater number of competitors in your class that you can beat is also key. Over the start-finish line has gone Darren Goes. There goes over the start-finish line now the fight for what is 10th and 11th place. Jack Wright at the wheel of the Team Air Supply Porsche being caught by Dale Cooper. They both run in Class A, and they will be fighting for second and third in their respective class at the moment, because Class A is being led by the car in 8th place, which is Gary Burstow's Black E46 M3. Darren Goes back over the start-finish line, seems to have got on with it again once more now, so the gap between first and second has grown further on that lap by another 0.8 of a second, so it's now up to 7.1 seconds between the number 22 Seat and the number 23 Porsche of Simon Clark. Ben Simonds is now 17 seconds adrift at the wheel of the third place number 14 Caterham, the Frugal Racing supported Caterham. Fourth place is Jason Jones at the wheel of the Toyota, who had been getting caught from the cars behind, but seems to have got the hurry up as well once more. So over the start-finish line, that car goes, the Silverstone winning car, and it still sits there in fourth place. And is it being caught by David Gardner's BMW behind? No. The gap between Toyota and the number 66 Beamer is now 6 3/4 seconds. So the gaps are just now coming out in reality. And after David Gardner in 5th position, 6th place is going to be the number 99 Volkswagen of Tony Hobson. So that's the top 6 done and dealt with. The best of the squabbles at the moment, you have to look a lot further down through the order to try and pick up on one of the squabbles, because even in 7th place, Jamie McHugh is having a very lonely 7th place at this stage of the race. 8th place has changed on this lap though, because Steve Gale's car number 35 now, the BMW 2 Series white car with its works sort of coloured stripes to it, is now up to 8th place and ahead of Gary Burstow's BMW that's dropped down into 9th place. So the best of the fight is actually for 10th and 11th place, which is just coming round through Coram now. Actually Jack Wright under a raft of pressure from Dale Cooper's Caterham Super 7. The Caterham better on the brakes. Porsche in a straight line looks as though it's got just a little bit more grunt, and those are the remaining 2 two cars that sit on the lead lap at the moment, because Darren Goes, the race leader, is closing in on them with now just 5.5 minutes of the race still remaining. So in a straight line, the Porsche pulls away through the twiddly bits. Dale Cooper at the wheel of the Caterham closes up once more, so that's the closest fight we've got at the moment at the sharp end. That's for 10th and 11th position. The cars are separated by just 0.8 of a second, Chris.
How is Steve Gales doing time-wise compared to his best, the 35, the 2 Series BMW?
At the moment, he is about 4 seconds off his best.
As he, every time he goes past, and we were just chatting, and one of the engineers, the mechanics that know better than me about these things, says it sounds like he's got a boost leak as he goes along the straight, and could be on the verge of going altogether.
Right, so you sort of hear a whistling or an air leak coming from that one. Yeah, poor old Steve Gales, who, as I said in qualifying this morning, hasn't had the best of luck. He had a bizarre accident at Rockingham before he even got into the assembly area for qualifying, because he was driving from his garage to the assembly area ready for qualifying, and unfortunately there was another driver's team member's road vehicle, was coming through the paddock perhaps a little bit quicker than it should have done, and contact was made between a competitor's car and road car that was heading through the paddock, and Steve Gales had a fairly significant amount of work to do to get the car qualified out of session, start off the back of the grid, and then had issues with it. But it was a strange old accident where he'd had an accident before he'd even got to assembly that day. So Darren Goes leads. He's on his 17th lap. We've got 14 minutes still to go.
99, 5-second penalty.
Right.
It's the Golf, isn't it?
That is the Volkswagen Golf. Johnny Sharp giving way to what is Tony Hobson. So it's a 5-second penalty. They should be okay still, because Jamie McHugh in 7th place is a long way behind them. Only now over the start-finish line comes Jamie McHugh, and he's 33 seconds adrift of the big VW, so they'll have to come in and serve that penalty, but they should be able to drive down the pit lane, stop the car for 5 seconds and get going again. Still hang on to the place, one would have thought.
The 172 Alpine Ford Fiesta's just gone through, sounding ropey to say the least. Now, I couldn't tell whether it was a mechanical noise or bodywork scraping along the ground, or something scraping along the ground.
Yeah, I heard something. You could see that car slowing, so what else?
This can't be right. It's just showing up on the screen again. The car 40. No, it's gone again. It's showing the stock go 40-second up on the gantry there. I thought surely they're not getting that again, but it's gone again.
Right, okay, no problem. So nothing to worry about for Callum McDougall and Ben Simonds. Lots to worry about still though for Jack Wright, because he cannot shake away the Caterham of Dale Cooper, car number 84, who is desperate to try and move himself up to second in the class and to get himself inside the top 10. Now, whilst they're busy squabbling away, they are also lapping quicker than Gary Burstow, who leads the class and is in 9th position, but they're so far behind him with 2 minutes to go, they're not going to catch, let alone get past. So it certainly looks as though they are settled in for just the squabble for second and third in the class, albeit quite who's going to finish 10th and who's going to finish 11th is still very much up for dispute. Darren Goes, our race leader, should now be on to his penultimate lap of the race, and it looks as though he is on course for class win number 4 of the season, for overall win number 3 of the season so far, and the only one that sort of got away from him was round 3 at Silverstone, where he was leading until literally a lap or so to go, when he had some sort of tyre problem, as he thought with the car as it was, but it turned out not to be, so he retired the car when perhaps he needn't. So he has been very much the man that's had the pace at all of the venues that the MSVT Track Day Championship has visited so far this year, and he is now looking as though he's just about to very shortly turn his way through towards a conclusion of yet another lap.
Update on Steve Gales is that the possibility from someone who's just come from the pit wall is that actually it's not the turbo whistling, it's that he's got the front splitter is dragging on the ground.
Right.
Similar sound, and hopefully that's all it is.
Well, if that's what it is, it's, well, hamper the handling of the car a little bit, but at the moment he has a reasonable gap between himself and Gary Burstow's BMW 3 Series that sits behind. There goes that car over the start-finish line. Yeah, you can hear the strange noise that it makes, but he's got plenty of daylight between himself and the car of Gary Burstow. There's a 6-second advantage, and he's actually still lapping quicker anyway than the 3 Series that sits behind. Through and over the start-finish line comes our race leader. Less than a minute to go on the clock. Darren Goes heads onto his 20th and potentially victorious lap here. He's got between himself and Simon Clark now 4¼ seconds advantage between himself and the Porsche that sits there in second position. Still with Ben Simonds at the wheel of the Caterham there in third place. Alf Hyde is still limping the Ford Fiesta round. Over the start and finish line goes Alf Hyde, and he's still limping that Ford Fiesta round, and that car is lapping about 30 seconds slower than it has been doing earlier on in the race. And here over the start and finish line is a great little fight for the lead of the class. Car number 59, the Renault Clio, leads Class C at this stage. Haven't picked up on this one, but that is Andy Tate who leads the class. He's got Kevin Sterling's Ford Fiesta not that far behind, and then next to them is another Renault Clio, and that will be the number 20 car of Jack Wood. So that is for 12th, 13th and 14th positions, but more importantly the lead of the class as well. So all rather close. They're on their final lap of the race, and they're going to have to try and sort out as to whom it's going to be. So turning their way through Palmer is the lead Class C battle. Down the short straight that brings them up towards Agostini. Alf Hyde with the ailing Ford Fiesta staying well and truly out of the way, but Andy Tate is going to have his work cut out here, because he's got the Ford Fiesta and the second of the Clios very much with him as they exit what is Agostini and start to press on again down the short straight and up towards Hamilton. So past Hamilton they will work their way now. Clio from Ford Fiesta from Clio. Closing in on them is the Toyota MR2 that currently occupies fourth position, looking to try and put a lap on them. But our race leader Darren Goes is just threading his way up towards the conclusion of another lap, and a lap which is going to see him take the checkered flag this next time round. So through Coram comes our race leader. The clock has ticked to 0, and it looks as though he is going to claim a victory here from Simon Clark in second place, who has been caught by the look of things by a raft of traffic that he's having to work his way through. So Darren Goes exits Murray's up the centre straight. Checkered flag is being ready, and he claims his third victory of the season in what is round 5 of the 2017 MSVT Track Day Championship. Simon Clark comes through and finishes in second position.